Hi everybody, Brittany Haas here, Chief Adventure Officer for Alpenventures UNGUIDED, and welcome to the next episode of the A Taste of the Alps series. Today we are making Prosecco Cake from Refugio Averau, which lies on the Alta Via 1 in the Italian Dolomites. I am equal parts excited and terrified today. This is a multi-step cake recipe involving frosting and splitting the cake, which is beyond my normal comfort zone. So if you haven't watched any other parts of the series before, it's important to say that I run an adventure travel company. I am not a cook. I don't have any formal training in this, and I also haven't practiced this recipe. So we are on an adventure together, figuring out how to make Prosecco cake from Refugio Averau together. So, ingredients that you'll need for today, you'll need 300 grams of white flour, and that's about 2.07 cups for those of you in the US, 9 eggs, 300 grams of white sugar, which is about 1.5 cups of white sugar for those of you in the US, the grated peel of a lemon, 8 grams of baking powder, which is about 1.7 teaspoons, and 500 milliliters of fresh whipping cream, which is about 2.1 cups, a bag of Amaretti di Saronno, maybe that's better. So this is something that you're often served with your tea in Italy, and I didn't actually find any pre-made, so I made my own little cookies here. They definitely look a little bit different than what you see if you buy it in the grocery store or if you get it straight in Italy. So I'll put a picture of what they're supposed to look like up there. If you can buy them already made, that's fantastic. If you have to make them yourself, I'll put the link to the recipe that I used in the description below. And then 1 bottle of Prosecco. And we'll be making the cake in a round cake form. So let's go ahead and get started. Before we dive too deep into this recipe, I just want to make a couple comments about it. First comment is that this is alcoholic. Prosecco does have alcohol in it and will not be baked. I don't see any reason why you can't substitute Prosecco with sparkling cider. It should have pretty much the same effect, just a slightly different taste. Also, the cream that we're going to put on the cake is going to have raw egg in it. So if you have an issue with that, Google a recipe for amaretto cream, and I'm sure you'll find a lot of other great options available to you. Okay, so we're gonna actually do several different steps for this. The first step is to make the cake and bake it. So for this, we should be preheating our ovens to 160 degrees Celsius, which is 320 degrees Fahrenheit. Also, you see I've cleaned out a little bit of space here. I just need the flour, the sugar, not all of the sugar, some of the sugar, baking powder, 6 of the 9 eggs here, and then I have my mixing bowl out and my scale out, which those of you who are in the US will probably be using your cups to measure that out. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so for the cake, we need to start by splitting out the egg whites and the egg yolks. We're gonna start by whipping together the egg whites. Okay, good. So now we are going to add the lemon peel and 250 grams of the white sugar, which is 1.25 cups. So I'm on a scale here. Okay, and I'm gonna zero that out, and I'm going to add in the baking powder, which is 8 grams, or if you're in the US, it's 1.7 teaspoons. And then we're gonna add in the flour, 300 grams of flour. So I've zeroed that out again. And then the 6 egg yolks from before. And then the directions say to whisk this together. So I guess I'm not supposed to use the hand mixer. Okay, I think I'm gonna use the hand mixer. Okay, so we have our batter ready. I lined my cake pan with parchment paper or baking paper, and batter in there and get that in the oven baking. And now we're going to let that bake for 40 to 50 minutes. While that's baking, let's go ahead and talk about the Alta Via 1, and in particular Refugio Averau, which sent us this fantastic recipe. So the Alta Via 1 is Italy's premier long-distance hiking trail, probably the most famous long-distance hiking trail in Italy and one of the most famous hiking trails in the Alps. And the Alta Via 1 travels through absolutely spectacular terrain. The Dolomites are unmatched. They have these huge monoliths and really spectacular sheer rock walls, and below that you have some really comfortable, good terrain with green meadows and views everywhere. Aside from the amazing views, there are two major highlights along the Alta Via 1. One of those is the food. The huts serve heaps of delicious Italian food. The other one is the World War I history that you're going to see along the route. The Refugio Averau lies kind of in the first half of the Alta Via 1. It's above Passo Falzarego and also very close to the famous Cinque Torri region. Now Refugio Averau is one of the more comfortable huts along the Alta Via 1, but what we really love about Refugio Averau is that it has the reputation for having the best food on the entire Alta Via 1, and that says a lot. So we offer at Alpenventures a 4-day tour of a snippet of the Alta Via 1 for people with limited time, and then we have full Alta Via 1 coverage tours from 7-day to 13 days, which allows different difficulty levels and paces to meet your preferences. We can also easily customize that, and we very frequently add in via ferratas for people who want to do via ferratas along the way. You can see all of the tours that we offer online. They're of course self-guided, as are all of our tours, which means that we take care of all the logistics for you, and you hike the trail yourself with your own group on your own dates at your own pace. All right, it's been about 40 minutes and the cake looks good, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that out of the oven, and then we're going to let that cool off. Our cake is cooled off, so we're going to cut it in half and make 2 cakes out of it, douse it in Prosecco, and then we're going to make our frosting and cover it with frosting. So let's go ahead and get started here with this. Honestly say this is one of the parts I'm quite nervous about, but it seems to be somewhat solid. Much easier than expected. Okay, so now we have to douse it in Prosecco, which means I need to open my very first Prosecco bottle ever. So let's see how this goes. Okay. Alright. All good. Perfect. Good. Okay, so we're gonna let that soak in, and we're gonna work on the amaretto cream. For this, I have 3 egg yolks. So the remaining 3 eggs that we didn't use for the cake itself, I have just the yolks from those eggs here, some crumbles of the Amaretti cookies that we talked about earlier, my 500 milliliters, which is just a little bit over 2 cups of cream, and then sugar, which is going to be 50 grams, which is about a 1/4 cup. So we're going to go ahead and mix the eggs, the cookies, and the sugar together. So I have this on a scale again. And then in a separate bowl, I'm going to mix the cream up, and then we'll combine the 2 together. Now we add the whipped cream to the mixture that we had before with the eggs, the crumbled cookies, and the sugar. yolks mixed in. Now we're going to cover the middle of the cake with some of this cream here. And then we're going to add the top back onto the cake and put more of the cream on top. Now we just have to put the final touches on the cake, and then we have to wait for another hour before we can eat it. So the final touches, if you have just the little cookies, the little Amaretti cookies, you're going to put one basically on each slice. I cut my bigger cookies into quarters. And then you put some crumbles of cookies right in the middle. And there it is. So let's wait for an hour and then we finally get to dig in and try it. All right, it's been an hour, so it's finally time to give the Prosecco cake a try. This is by far the fanciest cake I have ever made. And it's delicious. Of course, some Prosecco to go with it. Perfect. All right, thank you so much for joining. And we still have a couple more episodes coming of the A Taste of the Alps video series. Happy adventuring! All right, all good.